In a land of sunshine where the palm trees sway, there's a special show to brighten up your day. From rockin' festivals to Broadway dreams, tune in with Bonnie G. It's a desert scene. The desert scene with Bonnie G. Meet the stars and feel the beat. From the Coachella Valley, it's the place to be. For all the culture, fun, and harmony. The desert scene, yeah, with Bonnie G.
Mutual Broadcasting welcomes you to the Desert Scene, featuring conversations with the people who make culture, art, and entertainment happen in the Coachella Valley. From local theater to live music, art exhibits to cinema and beyond. Now here is your host, Bonnie G.
And welcome to the Desert Scene. So happy to have you here today, and very happy to welcome my buddy Chuck Yates to the show. He's a wonderful actor and director, and he is bringing back his one-man show called TRU, all about Truman Capote, to Desert Ensemble Theatre Company. Hey, Chuck, how are ya?
I'm doing great, gorgeous. How are you?
Good, good, good. So this is so exciting, and I'm going to get to see it because I missed it the first time around. So tell us a little bit about the show, and tell us about the first one. And that was how many years ago?
That was 2013, so almost 12 years ago.
Wow. So tell us about that one, and then what kind of changes would you say, I'm sure there are some, going to be to this version?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I first saw this show in 1989 when I was like 25. And I saw it opening night on Broadway, and I was like, I want to do that. And it took me like 24 years to do it. To be old enough and to have a company that I could do it. The differences are, the Annenberg is a 433-seat house with a huge stage. Mm-hmm. And the Cultural Center is like 130 seats with a smaller stage. So it's a more intimate production than before. And I'm also 12 years older, and I sort of see things slightly differently than I did then. But the bones of it, it's amazing. You know, I did it at the Annenberg in 2013, and then 2 years later, I did it something along the lines of what we're doing at the Cultural Center in Tucson, Arizona, a more intimate production. And it just grows each time I do it as I won't say relax into it, but as I just embrace more of Truman and his dark side and that kind of thing, it's still very funny. But but it's my favorite thing to do, to be quite honest.
Now, he was a very, I'm guessing, didn't know him, obviously, complex person, to say the least. What did you learn new, if anything, about him the first time you did it, or even in the remaining 12 years till now? What have you learned about him that you didn't know?
Well, a lot originally. Like I said, I first decided I wanted to do this at 25 and didn't do it until I was 48. So I did a lot of reading and just blindly researching a role that I didn't know I would ever play, but I just found him to be such an interesting person, an interesting character, that it was a lot of reading that is still in my body, so I don't have to really do that. I do go back and look at YouTube clips just to try to get the voice as close to the voice as I can get. But, you know, there was a lot of darkness in his life. He was seemed to be happy-go-lucky in some ways, but, you know, there was troubles with his mother, that kind of thing, feeling abandoned most of his life. All of that stuff ties into trying to capture the essence of him. I tend to keep lately putting myself in some very dark places for some of these roles I'm playing.
Well, is there a part of that that's cathartic, though, for you?
Oh, God, yes. Yeah. There's nothing more terrifying than standing right before you go on stage, or as he would say, the drop of the gallows. But then the moment in the past, I mean, it hasn't happened this time yet, but in the past 2 productions that I've done of this, the moment you step on stage, it's like being on a roller coaster and you just go with it.
Yeah.
And it is quite cathartic to try to explore some of those things without it weighing you down too much.
Talk a little bit about, I mean, the main things I know him for was In Cold Blood and just kind of being a gossip and being on all these talk shows and sort of talking, he could be very biting and very sarcastic and critical. Did you find that underneath that, was it more teasing and lighthearted, or was there definitely some barbs and knives?
Oh, there were barbs and knives. Yeah. Absolutely. There was, like I said, there was a feeling of abandonment his entire life. And so a lot of that, I mean, I know from my own humor, a lot of my humor comes from just the bare truth. You know? And, but you make it funny. And that's what he did. And it bit him in the behind, as he pushed the envelope further and further. And there was something about those women, Lacote Basque, the Esquire excerpt that was published where he told a lot of stuff on a lot of people that he knew. And there was something about biting the hand that feeds him that ties back to his mother, the way she treated him. And there's a lot. There's so much there. Yeah,
lot to choose from. How old was he when he passed away? I don't.
59.
Oh, okay.
So I'm now a year older than he was when he died.
Okay. And was he, by that point, had he alienated most of his friends at that point, or did he still have a little circle that still loved him despite how biting he could be?
He alienated almost all of the people that he really treasured in his way. There were people who stuck by him, but the ones, Babe Paley and Slim Keith, they never spoke to him again. Oh, and those two were really, really important in his mind to him and his life. So they never spoke to him again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, what else? He wrote a number of things. The main thing that sticks in my mind is in Cold Blood.
In Cold Blood, which is covered a lot in this play. Breakfast at Tiffany's, everybody knows. Oh gosh, I can't name them all. Something about hand-carved coffins, voices in other rooms, tons of essays that were published in magazines, short stories, that kind of thing. People are still reading his books. They're still selling. He's 100 years old. We're in 2025 now. 2024, he was 100 years old.
Wow.
And it was 40 years, 2024 was 40 years since he died.
Wow.
So
do you remember what put him on the map? What was the first big thing that people started to notice him?
I think it was Other Voices, Other Rooms. I think that was his first novel that sort of captured everyone's attention. And he had a very provocative picture of himself on the back of the cover, which is nothing these days. But back then it was viewed as something very provocative and caught everyone's attention, which I think was planned.
I don't remember. Was he naked or what was provocative?
No. He was just young and waifish and sort of reclined on a sofa looking rather alluring.
Okay.
And he says he didn't pick that picture, but I think he picked that picture. He
probably did, yeah.
Yeah. One of his favorite things he ever says, I don't care what anybody says about me as long as it's not true.
Yeah, okay. Now, and there was... in all of, I'm guessing, because I only wrote a few things. I mean, even Breakfast at Tiffany's had a few dark moments. I mean, there was a lot of darkness in, would you say, almost everything he wrote?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, a writer can't really, well, I'll say this, a writer is usually drawn to things that they can relate to. And even if they're reaching outside of their circle of knowledge, there's something about what they're writing that appeals to them or speaks to them.
Right.
And, the book of Breakfast at Tiffany's is very different than the sort of glossy Hollywood movie.
Is it really? Okay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a little darker, and she's actually, by definition, a prostitute. And,
okay.
And so is he. And so that's not covered in 1960s Hollywood.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
What would you say, obviously in 12 years, we all hopefully change in 12 years.
Yeah.
Other than more life experience and maturity, what else would you say you're bringing to it now that you didn't have the first time you did it?
Oh, I'll tell you, that's a very easy answer. The first time I did it, I had no idea if I could do it.
Okay.
You know, it's 70 pages of me talking nonstop and approximating as close as I can to this very unique individual. You know, I had never done a one-man show, and I didn't know if I could do it. And so that first hurdle was the main hurdle to jump, would just, I can do it. And then the second time in Tucson was feeling more confident in the fact that, yes, I've done it. Now, can I dig a little deeper, which is carrying over now 12 years later to even trying to dig deeper and more emotionally deeper into it and hopefully improve upon it even more.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but you said there is a lot of humor. I mean, he could be very funny, even though he's biting. He could be very funny. So there's a lot of humor in it too, I'm guessing.
He was extremely funny. Yeah, he was extremely funny and said things that most people thought but never said.
Right.
And that's what's funny about it. And yes, the play is very funny. It's a very dark, lonely time in his life, but that the humor is what gets him through. The humor is what, you know, sort of sustains him through a very lack period of time.
Right. Now, he was pretty obviously gay. Was that something he wrestled with? He was very private. I never heard anything about a steady partner. Do you explore that in the play?
Yeah, it's mentioned in the play. He never had a problem being a homosexual. Yeah. I mean, that's even a line from the play. Yeah. You know, he says he was always right out there, and he embraced his eccentricities and his peculiarities. He embraced them because it set him apart from, I mean, you know, you can try to hide all that stuff, or as we know now, you can try to hide all that stuff, or you can embrace it and be, you know,
who
unique.
you are. Yeah.
And that's who he was. And he did. He had a very long time partner named Jack Dunphy. They were together for 30 years.
Okay.
They were only lovers for like 3, but they were best friends and closest companions ever since. They didn't necessarily live together all the time, but that was his person. And then, you know, there's a lot of other people
along the way, I'm sure.
Along the way and such. Yeah.
Tell us about directed by David Yaus. Tell us a little bit about your director.
My director, David Yaus, is one of my best friends. I'm very lucky with this project because it started off being directed by Larry Rabin, the first 2 productions. We all 3 went to school together in New York, so we all know each other very well. And Larry was not available this time, and so David has stepped in, and I'll work with David Yaus anytime, as an actor or as a director. I've directed him, he's directed me, we've been on stage together, and it's when you have someone who understands your process, and I understand his process because we were sort of trained at the same time, at the same place. And when you trust somebody, if I'm directing him, I trust him to find what needs to be found. And I think, I won't speak for him, but I think the same for me. And then when we're together, it's just so easy working together, be it directing each other or being on stage together. It's really a luxury. It's really a luxury to have him stepping in and taking over this, because it's a remounting, but it's not, because it's a whole different set, and it's you know, and it's fitting it into the space. And then I had told him I wanted to do some things with it that I've learned in 12 years. So working with somebody that you trust is like
crucial.
Crucial. Yes.
All right, TRU, Chuck Yates starring as Truman Capote, TRU at Desert Ensemble Theatre Company, opens January 24th, right? Tell people about tickets. Where can they get tickets? You
can get tickets at Desert Ensemble Theatre, RE.org.
Okay.
Theater RE, desertensembletheater.org, and it is at the Palm Springs Cultural Center, and I am just so excited to be doing it again, and this is most likely the last time I'll be doing it in the desert, so please come see it if you missed it the first time. I'm coming opening night. I can't wait. I know Chuck's going to be fabulous. Chuck Yates, thank you so very much for being here. Break a leg. Best of luck to you. Really appreciate it. I'm so happy to see you, and I'll be happy to see you in person on the 24th. All right, and we'll see the rest of you the next time. The Desert Scene with Bonnie G. Meet the stars and feel the beat. From the Coachella Valley, it's the place to be. For all the culture, fun, and harmony. The Desert Scene.
Scene, yeah, with Bonnie G. The desert scene's where you belong with Mutual Broadcasting's Bonnie G. Just sing along. Just sing along.